Hello and welcome back to Heroes of the Dorm 2016. My name is Cloaken, joined by Trikslyr, and we have so much great action for you here today. Our second game is coming up. It is Georgia Tech versus Rutgers, and we have a really, really interesting story on our hands with this one. The higher-seeded team, Georgia Tech, versus the lower-seeded team, Rutgers. But you and I both kind of feel like Rutgers has the leg up mentally and in a prepared sense over Georgia Tech.
Yeah, going into it, Georgia Tech is a team that I just want to see play, right? Because when it comes to just their mentality and the way we talked to them and how it all went down, they were a little bit reserved and just more like, hey, we're here, we're straight mechanical players, and somehow we got this high seed and we're actually doing really well. Can we keep it up? Whereas Rutgers is like, hey, we are an underdog and we know it, but that's incorrect. We're a higher seed and we know it, and we're going to show it this weekend. It's going to be a bit of an upset.
Yeah.
And so, you know, with that confidence, I don't know what it is, but it gets my fire burning, man.
Totally,
like,
man.
I actually want to watch them and cheer for them. As whereas Georgia Tech, man, I just want to see their gameplay first, and then I'll make a full decision after game one.
Well, before we get into that, though, we have managed to wrangle Kikisho, like we talked about before the break, the captain for Illinois Urbana's team, the Mad Banners. Kikisho, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you loud and clear.
All right. Well, congratulations on your victory there in that first game. Congratulations to you and your team. Of course, what an interesting ride for you guys. It looked like just total dominance, obviously, coming out of game one and into game two. You guys had a 3-level lead at one point in game two, and basically lost that. What was the mentality of your team going through game two and into game three? How did you guys regroup? What were you talking about? What did you decide you were going to implement in game three that helped you turn it back around?
You know, those are some really good questions because we were really surprised by Miami pulling out that game two. That was really impressive of them, and they pulled off really well. And I guess it's a matter of what we were looking for and what we were respecting. So one thing that we were worried about, was the Thrall going to be a problem again? Was the Kael'thas going to be a problem for us again? With the Zul pick and stuff like that. But one of our team members, we were worried about it for a second, a little bit on guard. But we talked about it through, and we set ourselves straight. What are the threats? What are we actually afraid of? That happened in that game, but how do we pull it through? And we just stick to a comp that we're confident with. We played. We know that we're the mechanically better team. We have a lot more experience than them. We didn't want to play aggressively around the boss and things like that. Those were risks that we didn't need to take. So we were talking about, do we pick Zero Tool or something like that? No, just go safe, play Jaina. We go Thrall. We take the Thrall from them. We go fair Sunder, and they have no chance to stop it.
Well, that is great thinking, man. It's so cool to hear your mindset going into that, and obviously it worked very well in your favor. Tim, do you have any questions for Kikisho?
Yeah, I just have one question for just you personally, Kikisho. In 2015, you made it to the Heroic Four with your roster, and you guys did fantastic. This year, how are you handling going potentially back to the Heroic Four? What do you think this roster is capable of? Can you potentially win it at all?
This is really exciting this year. So I wasn't sure if I would be actually coming back again, and come the year, a lot of the team members that were graduating and couldn't make it, so I was a little bit worried if I'd be able to get a good team together. But there's tons of really talented people in the gaming community here at Atlanta Esports and in our University of UIUC, and I was really surprised because there's a lot of people that are showing interest, and in our club at our testbed chapter here, we asked people who wants to do Heroes of the Dorm for the upcoming year, and we get a bunch of people that have a range of skills and completely different personality and play styles. And it was really new for me. We have players that are really a lot more aggressively in using melee tanks and stuff like that, opposed to just last year we had people who were really good with maybe just glass cans and stuff. So, and I switched completely from being the team support to the team's main assassin. So everything changed, and I know we definitely had a really good coordination experience last year, and that's how we were able to get so far. And I think with that kind of legacy, that our team's been trying to live up to that in a completely different way.
Totally.
So, sure, but I'm really trying to.
Cool.
Sounds
Kikisho.
like a year of adaptation for you guys.
Absolutely.
Looking forward to it, man. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for being here with us. Of course, we wish you and your team all the best as you move into the round of 32. We can't wait to see how you guys perform there. Good luck to you and your team. All the best, man.
Thanks so much.
Thanks for joining us. All right, that was Kikisho, captain of the Mad Banners from Illinois. Kudos to them for their win in the round of 64. We will be seeing them tomorrow when we look at the round of 32. Really cool to see them progress. Of course, let's turn our attention now back to our next game that we're talking about. We talked about a Georgia Tech 8th Street West versus Rutgers Grease Trucks. They live in the D bracket, the bottom portion of it, and you can see them there in the third one down. Georgia Tech ranked 3rd out of their division in the South, and Rutgers ranked 14th out of their division in the East. Of course, Tim and I just spoke about this briefly before that interview, but Georgia Tech, though the higher seed, seems to be a little more loose in their mindset around these games. surprised at their progress. Obviously, they want to go as far as they can, but Rutgers, man, 6-2. They have lost some games, but they are so hungry. They seem like they've been practicing very, very hard, working together as a team to pull it. And they know that they're underdogs, but they are so aggressively hungry for an upset here in this round of 64, and we're looking forward to casting it. Of course, their name, Grease Truck's kind of an interesting story.
Yeah.
Named after a sandwich.
It's just
in
a sandwich
New Jersey.
full of stuff.
Yeah, I didn't know this, but Grease Truck is apparently like a huge sandwich full of like all kinds of stuff. Like
So
you
many
name it.
calories, perfect right
Dude.
before a game.
Totally my style.
The other team, though, Georgia Tech 8th Street, is also a great team as well. You know, let's talk about them real quick. And their team captain, I'm Jacka. This guy is going to be bringing in a roster that, when it comes down to it, they're great mechanics. I know we've been talking a little bit about how they're a bit of a higher seed. You know, they're so happy to be here, and, you know, they weren't really expecting to get this far. But they're a team that has great mechanics. They're still learning the game. They admit that fully open. But, you know, they think coming in here, if they play their game, they'll be fine.
Yeah.
He'll be leading this roster here for you guys. It's going to be Shanks, Tarantas, Infernus, and Shinobu. And really, they really can capitalize on engagements. You know, when I was watching a lot of their replays, the things that I felt that they had a lot was they took a lot of warriors and a lot of stun comps that just pounce on somebody and take them out quickly. It's not the most efficient way to play, as I felt like they put a lot of abilities into trying to kill one member, which an experienced team can punish that pretty heavily. But they bring it when they can.
Yeah, and of course they're used to that double support. We see them even playing that in these replays. They love the double support. But on the other side, Rutgers, their captain, Dilkster, this guy loves to play Kel'Thas. He's a fill player, but also leading the roster of his team. He's also had some time on Gaul and Cho'Gall, so maybe we'll see some of that pulled into this team. But the real player to keep your eye on is that one in the middle. Hi, I'm Rick. We're probably going to be calling him Rick from here on out just because that's a mouthful. But Rick is their highly skilled player. They look to Rick for their shot calling, look to them for their strategic play. So keep your eye on Hi, I'm Rick during these plays. He's obviously going to be the playmaker and the guy they're going to be leaning into to basically coach them on their wins.
And I did want to mention one more thing. Georgia Tech 8th Street does have like a really fun mentality. You know, one of the quotes that I had from Shanks here is, "We have the bond of friendship, and the power of friendship always prevails." And we'll see how they'll make it work here as we get ready to go into the draft and find out what exactly they'll be bringing to Sky Temple.
Absolutely, man. The power of friendship. And looks like our draft has already been done. We're trying to pick up a little bit of ground here in our broadcast right now. So let's just take a quick look at this. The initial bans, Zagara, Sonya, there for this, and then we saw initial pickups being Li Ming for Georgia Tech. What do you think of this comp here, Tim? Obviously, a lot to take in at the top when we don't get to see it play out, the picks, counter picks, but interesting to see that Georgia Tech did not decide to go for that double support. We are going to be on Sky Temple. We talked about that. Each of our first games will be played on Sky Temple in this round of 64. That just ensures that we have equal play across the board, and then, of course, the losing team will be able to pick the battleground that they play on.
At a quick glance, just looking at those drafts, Rutgers has more lockdown and they have more engagement and more versatility. I feel like they have the Divine Shield Mosh Pit, which can be great to get into an engagement, but they have the damage available to them too. On the other side, though, we do have more of a looser team comp that can actually get in and take people out fast, but they're going to have to be on point. They're going to have to lock down right away because they only have two heroes that have a great lockdown there. Besides Volus, Rain of Vengeance, they have the Stormbolt and the Bone Prison, which can be helpful for isolating targets, but if they don't take someone out quick, I could really see Rutgers, you know, fighting back and really taking a situation and making it work for them with their ability.
Okay, folks, so if you're out there, we want to hear your opinion and your thoughts on this game. Who do you think's going to win? Head on over to Twitter, use the hashtag Heroes of the Dorm, and vote for your favorite team. Hashtag VoteGT or hashtag VoteRutgers. We want to see what you guys think out there and who you think's going to take it all. Is it going to be the passionate, underseeded Rutgers Grease Trucks or the higher-seeded Georgia Tech 8th Street West going into this game? This is game one on Sky Temple. Georgia Tech being played by I Am Jacka on Vala, Infernus RNG on Rhaegar, Shank Z Muradin, Shinobu on Zul, and Sunar on Li Ming.
And on the very far right side, the Grease Trucks themselves from Rutgers, it's going to be Dilkster, Hanku-sung, Hi, I'm Rick, Liliana, and Super Flip. And remember, we'll be calling Rick throughout this entire cast, as he'll be the main player for this team that will be making a lot of plays. Universally, when we talked to this team, they said Rick is our guy. He's the one that will set everything up for us, and we'll just follow up. Now, we do see all 5 members going down to the bottom left here. They do actually have pretty solid siege potential. They can take down a tower really quickly, but you see Rutgers actually in the top right corner, setting out and fanning out, getting ready to defend both lanes if they need to. Oh no, are they actually going for an invade? Look at the top left corner.
Wow, interesting. They are very aggressively positioned there in the bushes above the left lane. It looks like they're both
They've
trying
watched
to go
replays.
for counter
They've seen this before.
Yeah.
They know they go for this quick turret takedown. And here we go. Yep. Are they going to go down for the engagement? ETC should lead the charge. There it is. They probably want to get Zul here if they can. Zul with the dodge, though. We do have Bala getting picked. Jacka trying to run away, and he is melted.
Wow, nice pickup there by Rutgers to get that kill on Vala. They clearly knew that she was a priority target. Hayam Rick went straight in, got the stun, and they got the aggressive kill, which is great. Wow, what a great way to kick the game off for those guys, just showing that their confidence, that they know how to get engagement, they know how to prioritize targets, so looking good for them.
Well, rotations will be occurring here. There's nobody in the bottom lane right now. They pushed it all the way in, so they're going to try and move up here, and if they could get a pick, great. If not, they can keep rotating. And it looks like they're going to do the four-man rotation here.
Yeah, the 1-4. It looks like seeing a four-man team basically take over the middle and bottom lanes, trying to soak experience that way, moving as a group, which is really cool.
Gaming is picked up. Gaming goes in. Here goes the hammer.
Dude, those body blocks, the positioning, so great. I love it. I'm Rick just showing again, he knows how to get the most out of every moment in this game. Positioning, body blocking, getting in the right place to get those kills. Nice work by him. You know what I love about this too? The Grease Truck saying, Rick's our best player and we're going to put him on the warrior. That is so cool. I love it. Sometimes these best players, people love to be on the assassin, the person who has the flashy plays, who like to make the plays happen. But they're saying, you know what, our most important piece of the puzzle is our tank. Let's build around that. Let's put Rick on the warrior and get these solid initiations.
Yeah, it makes sense.
So
You
cool.
get the initiations, as you mentioned. They get the engagements. Well, we do have a total of 4 members here in the middle. They're trying to grab both temples here. Zul will be in the bottom lane pushing, but Superfoot does charge in. Shanks is taking a little bit of damage. He is murdered, though. He will just go ahead and dwarf toss out. Li Ming rotating down here. Sunar looking to try and get in and apply some damage, but the minion actually tanks that damage and doesn't hit anyone on Rutgers, and Rutgers with a level advantage and now have a talent advantage.
Yeah, what a cool start to the game here for Rutgers, just showing dominance here, having the top lane, getting priority over the middle turrets, and it looks like they decided, you know, we got enough hits out of this. Let's try to figure out how to stop Zul in that bottom lane, pull off of this. Nope, you know what? They're not going to do that. They're actually going to go all in.
Both temples is actually kind of worth it here. They're going to get both walls. As long as they don't lose the fort down there, Zul doesn't get that much value out of it. He's still pushing. He did get his team level 4, but if we actually look at the health of the fort in the bottom right corner, he hasn't done much. And Falstad does get the ability to fly down, so he flew down and he actually dealt with Zul before you do too much crazy damage.
Wow, 2 full turrets of damage done on behalf of Rutgers against Georgia Tech here in this initial spawn for these temples. So that is a great start for them. They obviously have the level lead right now, which is just a good leg up, giving them even more confidence going into this early game.
Uther in trouble. He should have a heal available. Honku trying his best to do what he can. We do have Greymane charging in, and we'll get a wipe on a few members.
Rick.
Rick shows up to help out his teammate. Uther will fall, but now Uther can heal. Super flip here, keep him alive. Rick will get away, so a valiant effort, but unfortunately not enough.
Yeah, still nice solid attempt to save there by Rick, but unfortunate the kill there on Uther. But Falstad controlling the bottom lane here. We do see a rotation coming out of Georgia Tech as they're moving down to address that. And, you know, it looks like they're just prioritizing this bottom lane. They got that early damage on it, and they're going to continue to kind of look for a out-of-position Falstad, get an early kill, and continue to put pressure on that bottom lane.
Yeah, it looks like Georgia Tech is starting to get a little bit composure here. Dilxer is in trouble. Sunar does go in.
Nice
He misses
dodge.
a skill shot, though, and he will also miss the arcane missiles, but I like the attempt, right?
Yes.
He just went in there. If I can get a takedown here, I can teleport away. And he was safe. He had 2 members to help him out. Now Dilxer, a little bit low on HP, will be forced to back home and heal up. These minions in the top right corner are being grabbed to establish some pressure on the top lane when the temple does spawn. But Georgia Tech and Rutgers is actually very, very even right now. I know there's a small lead here for Rutgers, but they're both in a situation here where they're going into second temple feeling great.
Yeah, they're actually on very even footing. They're both responding with these bruiser camps in the top, getting well set up. We'll see. Interesting to see if Georgia Tech just goes ahead and spawns their minion camp, while we did see Rutgers choosing to hold off on spawning theirs while they wait to do that a little bit closer to when the objective spawns. Again, that's just a strategy to basically divide your attention, but here they're going to go ahead and do it, which will basically negate the pushing of their opposing team's mercs as well.
Vala got a little bit of pressure on the top lane, so I believe Georgia Tech will get the advantage there in the pushing, but we do have all the team members rotating down here in the bottom right corner. Falstad, weirdly here in the bottom lane, usually you put him in the top lane to keep that pushing up until a fight does happen, but Rutgers wants to fight. They want to establish dominance here. They want to make sure their opponents do not get these giants that can give any pressure here, and they just want to kind of push in, because they do have pretty solid wave clear with Falstad and Greymane.
Blue team with a little bit better positioning right now around this temple. They already have the early first couple shots coming in. Dilxer trying to figure out how does he commit, what are they going to do. The team's trying to get positioning around it. They're zoning out Shanksy, but then blue team comes in for the sandwich here on the red team, but nice power slide there by Rick, but he's out all by himself and does get picked off. Hongsu falling low, Super Flit falling low, and this is not looking good for your Grease Trucks.
I'm Jacka came in and jacked up the opponent there with some great auto attacks, a great Hungry Arrow as well, taking out 2 members right away just by pure kiting and mechanics. Well done by him, and now Georgia Tech will grab 5 members down here, and they got that slight pressure on the top lane here that's going to start beating on the wall of these turrets. So Trikslyr is forced to retreat here and grab that, which means the entire temple will go to Georgia Tech, and they now get a nice lead, which you can see at the very top of the screen.
Yeah, Rick with some unfortunate positioning mistakes, doing that power slide a little bit too deep into Georgia Tech's team, and they were able to get that kill off.
ETC's never too deep, man.
He was pretty deep there, dude.
God. So we do see in the bottom right, we have some soaking going on. Rutgers is trying to get back to 10, trying to remedy the mistakes that they had there because they lost their Giants, they got pressure in the top lane, they lost a couple of members, so they're kind of hurting right now, whereas Georgia Tech rotating around, trying to grab level 10, keeping the watchtower at the very north corner, which will give them vision of that entire area. It can be very, very helpful, especially when a mid and top shrine spawns, which could potentially happen here in the next minute or so.
Yeah, as long as Rutgers can get level 10 before the next objective spawn, they're going to be in a pretty good situation. They aren't interested in any sort of team fight prior to that, and looks like they're going to be able to do that just fine. We are...
Ooh, that 1v1, son. So it looks like Thrall's getting taken out there, and you actually want to put that Rain of Vengeance where you can walk in there and prevent the Frostwood proc from healing Thrall. So he knocked it down right when Thrall was about half health, and he couldn't heal himself up. Rain of Vengeance allowed him to solo him, and that was a quick kill for Georgia Tech.
Total iced. Makes Thrall second guess the Demon Hunter there for sure.
Gotta watch out.
Sunar, Infernus, and Shanks going ahead to pick up their Siege Giants here in the bottom left-hand corner. And that's going to, again, work in their favor while we wait for the next objective spawn to happen. Both teams sitting at level 10. They both have their heroic abilities. Let's take a look at those. Nothing too out of the ordinary here for these heroic abilities. We are seeing Rain of Vengeance for Vala again, which happens to be a big pickup. We haven't actually seen Strafe at all in this tournament. It's a big pickup for them. Huge damage, and of course the stun that comes out in that ability for Vala. But heroics look pretty standard as far as what we typically see out of these heroes.
Yeah, the entire game right now is a tug of war here for both teams. They're trying to get lane pressure and is trying to have that vision because it's so helpful. And right now, Zul's doing a better job of it because he has that ability to push down lanes like crazy. Hyam Rick actually was setting up for a flank up here in the top left corner.
Yeah.
They could have had Falsehead fly in if it was one member that he was maybe able to power slide. But with the temples now spawning, one in the very south and one in the very top, you're going to see Rutgers trying to position down there and do whatever they can here. Thrall trying to retreat from this area. She will get away right away.
Of course, Georgia Tech with a little bit of a structural advantage. They still have that bottom fort taken out already, and we are seeing temples spawning again in the bottom and the top of this battleground. Let's see how they choose to prioritize these. It looks like both teams focusing on that bottom one. Oh, they catch Rhaegar. Nice early kill there, but Sunar doing so much damage with Disintegrate, Super Flip, trying to get out. It is a 4-on-3 scenario here while Lily and Tarantis are coming in to join their teams. Still, hero advantage in the favor of Grease Trucks right now, but nice D-Shield cast on Hangsu. We see more heroes falling for 8th Street West. Zul taken out of the fight, and they are on a 4-on-3 advantage for Grease Trucks right now out of Rutgers, and they are going to basically take over priority in this bottom temple.
Surprising Georgia Tech took that fight. They were actually trying to get a proc on Uther really quickly there. That way Li Ming could just do her thing, get the raid sets, and take out a few people right away. Unfortunately, the Divine Shield was just a little bit too good and stopping that all from happening, and we saw Georgia Tech fall and take a couple of hits because of that scenario. I do want to mention that Shanks, before that entire thing happened there, did save Sunner. It was a good play by him to hit the Stormbolt on top of ETC to prevent the power slide, which could have been 2 to 3 kills right away. So he did mitigate that very, very well. He will move all the way to the top here and grab whatever shots he can here as they try to get to level 13. You see more members pushing in that top lane as well, going for a fort.
Very even game right now for both of these teams. Like I said, there is a minor structural advantage on behalf of Georgia Tech, which actually they'll probably be able to capitalize on even more with another structure here. They might get this. They might get this fort here. I'm not exactly sure how many shots still left. Actually, about half shots still remaining on that upper temple. Right now, going totally crazy.
Went straight for Rhaegar here, which is huge because the clans and the Ancestor are healing. Vala tried to help there, but unfortunately, Rain of Vengeance was on cooldown. Rick helping out with the fight here. Super Flip flying around as well. Li Ming does show up to try and help here. Can she get the reset? She will get the mighty
nice
Gus from Dilster was so good. We do see Zul thrown around as well here. It's going to fling up there, and 3 members go down for 1 here in favor of the Rutgers. Rutgers.
Yeah, man. Dilkster with the clutch gust there as Sunar was looking for the kill, but that was just enough to throw him off his game, man. He couldn't hit the button. It's all about mashing those buttons.
That entire, yeah, right? You gotta hit the buttons, man. Yeah, the entire fight there really revolved around that Rain of Vengeance, unfortunately not being available for Vola. She was in a prime position to stop ETC, and they could have turned that fight around. Unfortunately, with Rhaegar being locked down there and the Ancestor Healing not going off, that prevented the Murden from going in there and going too aggressive, and Zul, of course, getting caught, cost him so much there. So nice engage by High and Rick. I wonder if he's actually counting these cooldowns.
Yeah, that being said, I do want to say the Poison Nova out of Zul, you guys saw the damage it dealt in that huge team fight, and you know what? That is such a clutch heroic when facing a hero like Uther. If you can overwhelm Uther with the amount of damage being done across the board for your team, it can kind of like freak him out, shut him down, and basically stall him out.
Yeah, he doesn't have multi-target healing.
Exactly.
Which is what Poison Nova does.
Yep, and that is the perfect strategy on their part to basically get a ton of damage in, get Zul in there right in the middle of the opposing team, deal that poison damage, and then basically cause Uther to experience his prime weakness, which is multi-target healing.
Well, both teams still relatively even here. I do have a little bit of map pressure available here for Rutgers, so I'm going to give them the slight lead at this moment, but Georgia Tech is doing their best to try and clear that up, getting Giants in the bottom left. I assume they'll run down here and deal with these Giants as well from Rutgers, but pressure from top right from Rutgers here as well. I probably would have waited a couple seconds before grabbing those knights, because you want that pressure when the temples are spawning, and we should be seeing some very, very soon. But you also want the pressure too, because you can fake out a boss. So that's probably why they grabbed it. We'll see what they're going to plan to do.
So Rutgers with the level lead at this point, a little bit ahead of Georgia Tech as they move closer to that next power surge at 16. Very, very cool for them. They are going to be feeling very confident for a short window of time, but Georgia Tech hot on their heels. Of course, right now they're addressing these mercs in the top lane, getting them cleared out, and Georgia Tech, though, coming in to address them as well.
Yeah, Georgia Tech needs to decide if they want to engage now before Rutgers at 16. The safer play is to wait.
Sure.
And probably the best play here, because with the temple spawning, you do not want to lose a team fight. You want to fight around the area when you're on even footing. The problem is they have a bit of a climb here until they are on even footing. They're about 3/4 away from hitting level 16.
Yeah, and you know what? This bottom temple shrine is the dirty one. This is where we see just positioning being so important. You know, do you go in? Do you commit? You know, there's some tight chokes around that temple in particular. So let's see how these teams position around it and how they strategize. It looks like the red team just soaking experience while they can. They know that the blue team is in the top lane. Maybe the blue team's just giving this up.
Yeah, they're trying to rush on 16. The turret there was free experience as well. They could potentially keep pushing here and grab a turret wall as well. I don't think they'll go for a keep. That's a bit of an advantageous play. And looks like they will actually go for the turrets here. And you know what? Rutgers puts one person at the very bottom. Liliana on Thrall is now grabbing that sky or that temple. And then in the middle, they just push down an entire fort.
And smart moves by them to just basically say, hey, you're going to give this up? We're going to make the most of it right now. They put one hero in the bottom shrine because there's no reason not to. They don't need any more than that. And red team's backing to address that right now as well. So smart moves on their play. They are going to get full value out of this temple. There's just no way blue team's going to be able to respond in time. Or actually, it looks like they're trying to, but Falstad coming in for the support, and I'm sure they're going to get full value out of this temple.
Well, the full race here now is about who is going to go towards level 20. Level 20, again, will give them storm powers, and Georgia Tech is taking whatever they can to get there faster. This fort here will award them experience, but they aren't sure where the opposing team is. They don't see Greymane, and they don't see ETC. Both targets that can come in and do a lot of damage very quickly or get locked down from ETC. So they went ahead and pulled away, did some damage wherever they could, and they're just rotating, trying to catch Rutgers with their pants down, but unfortunately, they put it on a belt today. They are playing very, very well.
They're all cinched up and ready to go to work, and it looks like Bush Strat's coming into play. They know this team is around.
Bush Strat, I love him.
Oh, here he goes. Nice,
there goes the mosh pit. Vola will get caught there. The Divine Shield goes off on ETC, so it cannot be interrupted. Greymane goes in, dispatching of two members right away, the Zul and the Vola, and Rick and crew can now move towards this boss and grab it if they would like.
What a clutch dive by Rick. So cool. Getting two caught out with that mosh pit stun, and then you saw Rhaegar trying to get the ancestral off, but it wasn't hit early enough. Just goes to show you that particular ability has to be cast so early in a fight, otherwise there's no way it doesn't survive.
Yeah, the problem with that is Greymane puts out so much damage so quickly that it's really hard to time that out, and unfortunately they miss the timing.
It's almost like impossible, especially if you don't know if Greymane's around, because Rick dove in so fast and the other folks emerged from the jungle there so quickly.
All right, well, this is a 14-minute boss. It's easy to deal with. It's not too crazy, but you do want to push with it if you're Rutgers here here. Just try and get as much pressure as you can on that bottom lane. They should get a wall. I'm not quite sure if they'll get a keep unless they are able to pick off somebody.
It looks like they are not choosing to push with those mercs in the bottom lane. They're going to let them do work, try to clean up things, and maybe push in an alternate lane at the same time, which kind of is making the most of their ability to gather experience out of these lanes.
Yep, just trying to move towards 20. Getting turrets will give you more experience, and they're going to move to level 19 after grabbing these minions and that turret. And now they're able to pull back, and they have map control. Remember, that bottom lane's pushing. They have the top lane pushing as well. They can clear out minions in the middle lane, and they'll be good to go. And it looks like Superflip wants to pull back and get mana, but there might be a fight brewing here as Georgia Tech is trying to chase them down.
Looks like they are prioritizing vision, which is a smart move on their part, but trying to figure out what to do. Looks like they might potentially step back from this middle shrine, playing it safe, going for the mercs. They do have 3 seconds before those shrines populate. It looks like both of them are going to address mercs before that, before digging in deep on shrine positioning. Red team does have vision over that middle shrine, so that is working to their favor right now. And let's see how they choose to assign their heroes. Blue team basically just trying to catch up with their lanes right now and grab their mercs as well.
Yeah, they're trying to be efficient here, grab whatever they can while they wait for Rutgers to make the move, because Rutgers does have the power play here. Yeah. They have the Mosh Pit, they have the Divine Shield available to them too, and then they can start moving towards the temple, and as soon as they know that they are on the temple, that's where Georgia Tech can decide, do we go in or do we not? And the answer is go in right now, because Rutgers is not level 20. Once they level 20, they'll be even more farther ahead. So you're going to see Jacka come in here and try and put some pressure on Rick. Rick taking some HP. There is a Divine Shield available. Uther holding on to it, though, and here comes the Divine Shield. Unfortunately, the Power Slide will miss, and that is a big heroic down, and with Rick being low on HP, and he is the only warrior for this team, it's harder for them to engage now. Nice play by Georgia Tech.
Yeah, nice. Also, nice call by Rutgers to just back out of there. Go get the top shrine, prioritize that. It looks like Blue team's trying to basically make the most of this and say, nope, we don't want you to have that either. Coming in to address it, Shanksy diving in deep, super flip, getting caught. There goes the Bone Prison.
The Rain of Vengeance was solid there. There's the orb from Sunar, and now we're going to start getting those resets here from Li Ming. Lialana is in trouble as well. That Poison Nova was dangerous.
Yeah.
I Am Rick is in trouble as well. Sooner with the Disintegrate. He's going to get away, but Falset flying over. Where are you going? You're a bird. Well, we do also have the temples now available. 2 members fell here for Rutgers. Good play here by Georgia Tech. A 3rd member as well as Uther is picked off. I love that play. Shanks went in, and there was follow-up from the team. Great pressure and great confidence in their abilities.
Yeah, what great killer instinct on their part to say, you know what, Divine Shield is down. These guys are feeling on the back foot. Let's go make the most of it. Sure, we get the shots off the middle shrine, but let's go get the shots off the top shrine too. Yep. Why not? So nice move on their part to just say, you know, Rutgers trying to go the conservative route. They don't want to fight us.
Dilkster might be in trouble.
Them.
Ball's coming down. She's about to show up, dude.
He doesn't
She's
have much health. That Vala can chase Dilkster.
Gosh. Is he gonna get it? He doesn't have any slows with him. Okay, so there's gonna get that up. Good play there. I was so worried there. I immediately looked at the build in the top left corner because if a multi-shot build was there, that ball's dead.
Slow 100%. That ball set down. He's totally taken out of the fight. And so right now, Greasestruck's just trying to get their heroes back into the game. Obviously, both teams on 20 right now. They are at an equal power situation. Both teams as well, same amount of structures. We have 2 keeps remaining for both sides. This is anybody's game right now. Very interesting as we're heading into the absolute late game. Both of these heroes hitting their spikes in power. They all have their storm abilities, so they're basically in prime shape for absolute maximum carnage as we move into the late game.
Yeah, this game is very even right now. Rick, though, about to show up. There are a couple of moves that are a little bit too far off. We're going to see Zul take a little bit of damage in the late game. Zul has a bit of a hard time staying together. Now, there goes the Poison Nova, hitting 3 members. The Rain of Vengeance does follow up. This is way too much damage for Uther to deal with. Rutgers, 1 member does fall. A 2nd member now falling as well. Li Ming is really showing up here, Kevin.
Man, the power of Poison Nova. It is just so intense. You just saw it draining the entire team while it's getting backed up by all the additional damage the team was putting on it, and that is just so demoralizing, especially to a healer like Uther, who just can't deal with it. It's just literally like, cannot compute too much damage.
The numbers are just not there for Uther, and we saw the result here. And now Georgia Tech is going to push down this bottom lane and go straight for the keep. Can they win the game here? 2 members down. Greymane and ETC are the ones that took the deaths there for the team. With Falset being available here at Mighty Gust, there is potential for Rutgers to hold this. So it looks like Georgia Tech is going to go with the safe play here. Pull back, go grab some temples. They have a huge advantage in the top lane and now the bottom lane as pressure is pushing here for the minions with catapults.
Yeah, absolutely no reason for them to put their tournament on the line here. Might as well play it safe, go back. They can at least get one of these temples, probably both of them, and that could seal the game for them. Like we talked about earlier, Sky Temple is a map where you don't have to push the lanes, man. You could prioritize the objective and finish this game entirely without ever setting foot near the opponent's core. might as well play it safe, and that's what we see them doing.
All right, well, the ball is in Rutgers' court now. They need to make a play. There are 2 temples now shelling away at their keep. They're most likely going to lose that keep, so they need to make a play on one. They're going to head to the middle one here. Luckily, though, for Georgia Tech, they put Murd in here. A nice strategic play here as he's able to get away without much problems going towards him. Now, the keep has been taken down. Rutgers can potentially survive this if they're able to start rotating up to the top. I don't believe there's enough shots to actually end this core, but we'll see here as we see Super Flip starting to head up. I want to see how many shots are left on this.
Yeah, this is looking rough. Damage being done to the core. This is actual, it's true damage. It will stick. Oh no, ETC deep. Himrick taking damage, trying to stay alive, but he is going to fall. That is so close. We got that Vine Shield. There goes the Poison Nova again, dealing damage. Oh man, Rick is so low on health, but he goes in for the stun anyways.
Oh, he's going to get a couple people off, but it was actually destroyed there. We have a few members low, and Thrall is the trouble. Ancestor Healing will save them, and Jacka in that entire fight, just a quick call out, was auto-attacking like a beast there. The Temples will be grabbed, 3 members down. This has got to be game. Georgia Tech just needs to group up and push, or they might just play it safely here. They're going to run down and grab both Temples, and that is going to be game. Nice team fight, and it really came down to the stun that occurred there from Shanks. He actually prevented Uther from hitting that Divine Shield on time, and really nice disengage, and the follows from Jacka was just enough. Georgia Tech will take game number 1 with a great vigilance to fight back.
Yeah, absolutely. Nice, solid play out of Georgia Tech, making the most of their heroics, making the most of their play. That was really just, actually, what a beautiful game altogether. I felt like they were on even footing the entire game, playing really well and really smart play. Rutgers knowing when to back away, Georgia Tech knowing when to go in for the kill, basically looking at the resources of their opponents, when their cooldowns, their heroics were on cooldown, and capitalizing at every opportunity. So kudos to both teams. I thought that was a really solid game all around, but Georgia Tech was just able to basically clinch it in the late game and play safe as they had to take their little advantages and make them bigger.
Yeah, totally. And the thing is, once ETC was taken out in this fight, you could just see how quickly Georgia Tech could just follow up and really land a lot of fighting. The Poison Nova from Zool was so disruptive, because that allows Li Ming to decide, okay, who's low on HP and who do I focus here so I can get my resets? And they continue to do that throughout the end of the game all the way to the last fight. Beautiful play by both teams. This was a really cool moment in particular. Just a great synergy where you can see where that Mosh Pit and Divine Shield can work out. But you saw Georgia Tech really start to adapt, make sure to stun the important targets that were trying to land those Divine Shields, or of course mess up the timing of that combo, and they just won so many team fights because of their composure.
Yeah, Poison Nova is like, for a Li Ming in the background, is like a kid in a candy store, man.
Yeah.
You're watching these health bars sort of tick down, and Li Ming's just like, we're going to go with that one, and then we're going to go with that one, and then we're going to go with that one. It's just like one at a time, so absolutely great play by them. The synergy between those 2 heroics, super awesome. Very, very fun to watch. Of course, we're not done yet. That is just game 1. Georgia Tech takes the win over Rutgers Grease Trucks, but we're going to be back for game 2 shortly. Stick with us. We'll see you very soon. Hello and welcome back to Heroes of the Dorm 2016. My name is Cloaken, joined by the incredibly handsome Trikslyr. And you know what? We're elbow deep in this game between Georgia Tech, 8th Street West, and Rutgers Grease Trucks. It has been an exciting start on what seems to be a very evenly matched set of teams.
Yeah.
And you know what? We're not going to waste any time. Let's jump into the draft. We already know these guys are underway. Let's jump into Game 2 draft. It's going to be on Cursed Hollow. We actually have, this is our very first game in the round of 64 on Cursed Hollow. One of our oldest and honestly favorite maps of most players in Heroes of the Storm. It's really cool.
Yeah, it's one that when Heroes first came out, it was like the competitive map. Like, people felt like there were so many strategies available to them, and it still, to this day, is a map that a majority of the heroes or players do enjoy. I do want to mention, though, like, Georgia Tech, man, I was wrong. I thought they were not ready. I thought that they would come in here and they would play their games, right? But Rutgers was actually going to like outplay them completely. And at the beginning of that game, I felt like that was going on. But then as the game continued to develop, Jacka, that guy is insanely good. He went an auto attack build on Vala, and him working in those auto attacks were so devastating while his teammates did all the majority of the damage, Poison Nova and such. I can't wait to see more here. On game number 2, man, I kind of hope that Rutgers wins just because I want to see game 3. Yeah. I love watching these teams go at it.
Yeah, me too. And of course, we see Falstad ban from Rutgers, followed by a Zagaro ban from Georgia Tech. Both really solid heroes that we know that these teams like to play. Falstad, a really great sustained damage dealer, as well as strong presence in lane. Of course, huge global presence with his ability to fly around the map. Zagara as well, very strong lane presence with the ability to have vision around the map. And of course, first pickups, Thrall for Rutgers, followed by Li Ming from Georgia Tech and Rhaegar. Wow, that Li Ming prioritization as well from Georgia Tech. It worked really well for them in the first game, and they're going to go for it again in the second game.
So Li Ming and Rhaegar being grabbed. I'm wondering if Georgia Tech's going to pull out their double support that they enjoy so much.
Yeah.
They really love Tassadar as a follow-up and a helpful hero here. They're going to need maybe a little bit more damage and more solid engage for that to happen, but the Rhaegar being picked up here is pretty interesting to me. Now we go into Thrall here, picked up here for Rutgers. They will, of course, get their 2 heroes. Really curious what we're going to see.
Yeah, I mean, the Zool was so devastating for Georgia Tech. I'm curious if Rutgers is going to respond in this next pick here for them because...
Well, the way to outplay that is you don't pick so many melees.
Yeah,
they
that's
had
true.
4 melees.
The melee situation
I know
in the last game was...
Greymane's ranged, but you want to get in there, right?
Yeah.
And you become melee. And as soon as Greymane went in, you just saw Poison Nova pop. They hit R and he put out so much damage. So here, they probably want to grab a few more ranged characters if they're afraid of that happening.
Very cool.
Lunara is great here. That's a great way to kind of change the way you move into there. Muradin is actually pretty good against Poison Nova as well, as he's able to actually heal out that if he walks away from a battle long enough, and he's also got that Avatar state. But here is Lunara. Lunara, her primary abilities, Noxious Blossom, Crippling Spores, and Wisp, all very strong, help you out with scouting, really applying that poison damage that she puts on everyone so much. And really, this is a hero that's all about auto-attacking. Whoever is playing this hero needs to be mechanically strong, or you will not get a full use of her.
Leaping Strike, of course, one of Lunara's heroics. We tend to see the other one a lot, a Thornwind Divine, which is such a huge poking strike. Of course, Leaping Strike has 2 charges, so you can use it multiple times, either back and forth like we saw in that footage, or to position in a triangle, or basically move all the way around a team fight, or basically move really far down a lane.
And you get that sick laugh, dude.
Yeah.
She's so evil, dude.
She's like, I don't care. I'm just going to laugh in your face. Well, all right, we're seeing second bans here. Uther being banned out by Georgia Tech. Interesting that they're doing that. I think they had Uther last game, I believe.
Uther was picked up by Rutgers. They still have the potential here to get Mosh Pit and Divine Shields. They probably just want to go away from that combo, because that is a combo that if it does hit, it could be devastating.
Right,
and it happened once to Georgia Tech last time. Just removing that ability overall can be a strong pick for them. And they also probably want to target the support here for the team, as Hanku-sung is a little bit on the newer side. He's pretty strong, but he might not have as much of a big pull as the rest of the players on Rutgers.
Yeah, so we're seeing a Sonya banned by Rutgers. Interesting that they're doing that. They know that Zagar was already banned out. Sonya being banned out, and another typical counter to someone like Thrall in the lane. So it will be interesting to see how they decide to solve the lane problem with Thrall. Falstad, Sonya, Zagar, all typical options for that, but we'll have to see how they choose to deal with that. Interesting bans by them. Let's see how the response is going to take place here by Georgia Tech.
I'm wondering if Rick might pull out his Abathur gameplay.
Huh.
Abathur is very strong in this battleground. He can be quite a nuisance to deal with, and Rutgers loves him on Abathur. The problem is he's a main tank, and he does a lot of the shot calling, right?
Yeah.
So they kind of reserve their judgment to grab that, but I feel like with this comp they have right now, Thrall and Nara, you get a solid healer here, someone that can help out and sustain in team fights, and you pick up Abathur and you let Abathur do his thing. Let Rick take this team towards the end. Georgia Tech, though, will be picking up Greymane.
More damage, more poke.
Yeah, Greymane and Li Ming can combo very well together. Greymane can get in there, put about half damage on somebody, and if you have an Arcane Orb already flying over there, you can evaporate teammates, right?
Of course, they both become absolute terrors in the late game, so very, very strong heroes for the late game situation. And there we see Stitches, first time in this event. Of course, we know Jacka loves to play Stitches, and this is going to be fun. We'll definitely be seeing Jacka on the Stitches there, trying to get those picks off of their team, and of course damage being carried out by Li Ming and Greymane in this team. But here's Stitches. This is the man himself, of course, fully defined by his hook, his ability to yank heroes across the battleground and try to get picks. Of course, Slam is another solid AoE damage option that we often see people talenting into. Not necessarily on this map so much, because there aren't huge, it's not as much value as a map that you get on like Infernal Shrines or something like that, but we'll see how they choose to talent him in this particular game. So right now they have their solid tank, they have their healer, they have some solid damage dealers. I still feel like they need an answer for that Thrall. Maybe they use Rhaegar to deal with that, but we'll see how they choose to address that in their final pick.
Yeah, the Falstad pick was actually the answer that Georgia Tech would probably get here, but because it's banned out, they actually don't get Mighty Gust, which makes it actually a little bit harder for Thrall. Thrall's actually able to get in now and actually put in a Sundering or hit those Frost Wolves, so that's strong. I don't think the Abathur play is the best pick here now for Rutgers because of Stitches.
Right.
You put yourself in a scenario where team fights are naturally a 5v4, and if someone gets picked, now you're in a 3v4, right, until Abathur can get a hat on. So I don't think he'll go with either here. I think we'll just put Murden on Rick and then get a nice support here, and then someone else that can help engage. I actually wouldn't mind Johanna. They've run double tank before.
Yeah.
They're pretty strong at double tank. Johanna and Murden here could be great at just getting in there when Stitches puts his hook on. Go in and help your teammate. Let Murden jump in, Stormbolt, stun out Stitches, and then have Johanna follow up.
Sure. Well, Rutgers still needs the support of some kind as well, so we're going to have to see something picked up by them. We know Rhaegar, Uther are not an option. Do they go with the Malfurion? Do they go with Lily? We could see. Or maybe it's just
Brightwing.
Brightwing. Interesting choice. Of course, makes sense. Her global presence. Solid pick.
Yeah, they're going poke builds now.
Yeah, poke.
That's what that's telling me, as they're going to go for situations where they can sit back and poke their opponents down and just dodge hooks. And they can do it. They can make it work. Leoric actually sit in the front line. His ability to go unstoppable where he goes into his Wraith Walk will help him out. But here is Brightwing herself, Blink killed, Emerald win. Very, very strong support with the global presence, and one that you want to sit near you at all times because she puts out healing every few seconds.
Interesting, though. Brightwing and Leoric are two heroes we've yet to see Rutgers play in the entirety of Heroes of their Own. So these are heroes that we've yet to see them pick. So they're probably not necessarily comfort picks for this team. They might feel a little bit out of their element.
Yeah, they're adapting
Who knows,
here. This is something that they've probably been working on the side. You know, the Rutgers mentioned they've been working out. And there is a pick from Georgia Tech, the second best hero in the world. It is Murky, right behind Artanis. Yes, I love Murky. It doesn't matter. Georgia Tech wins. It's over. We're done. We're done looking at the draft. It's over. Okay? Best hero in the game.
We did hear from them when we spoke to Georgia Tech that they thought that they would potentially pull out Murky.
Yeah.
We didn't know exactly where it would happen, but we
It's
have
Shanks who plays him.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's
Murky
in love with
Stitches
Murky.
combo. This is going to be interesting.
I love it. It's great here. Murky is a hero that is a pseudo tank. We saw Shanks on Murden last game. We saw that he can get in engagements. He knows how to move around on a team fight. Murky can play that role, especially with the bubble build. So
yeah, preach us the Murky.
The
preach,
Murky,
right?
the legend, the egg spawner himself. That's his trait. He puts an egg down, and if he is actually killed off, he will respawn at the egg of wherever it is. He has a very low health pool, but he can put out damage very fast. He has a slime, pufferfish to kind of disrupt people. He has a safety bubble where he goes invincible. He jumps into a little bubble and floats around, just being an annoying pain in the rear. That's what this guy does.
Dude,
He's annoying.
It's the kind of hero, too, if you're not used to playing against a Murky, he can get into your head so badly and can demoralize you so badly. Like, I don't know. My hope is that Rutgers has spent some time playing against teams who play Murky, because if you haven't, especially on a stage like this, it can be you demoralizing.
Yeah, the number one rule when you're playing against the Murky is if you're chasing him around, you're losing.
You're doing it wrong.
Game's over.
Yeah.
You're done. You need to deal with him as he makes mistakes and he pushes it a little bit too hard. You just throw an ability his way, make him bubble, and then for 4 or 5 seconds he can't do too much. So we'll see how Rutgers deals with this hero. I'm actually very excited for this match, win or lose for Georgia Tech. But Stitches into Murky is such an interesting comp. That means that they can get a hook. Murky can get aggressive on the other 14 members. He can die because it doesn't matter, but he can slime them and slow them down so Stitches can have the time with his teammates to pick off whoever they hooked.
Right, and on the other side, we do see the double warrior situation coming in for Rutgers, so we'll see how they play that. I don't think that's a style that we've heard from them that they're used to playing, so this is, like you said, an attempt for them to adjust, but I have a feeling they did not expect that Murky pick at the end. So
I didn't expect it, and I have notes.
Yeah.
I have notes that says they're going to go Murky.
Exactly.
He does fit in this comp. You know, the more I think about it, the more they can actually do with him and all the priorities they have available to him, how annoying he can be. On Cursed Hall, it's a big map, so he has split push capability. You can put an egg on the opposite side of the map, die on purpose, show up and help out your team fight. You can be annoying around the attributes, which is what they're trying to grab here. I'm excited. I'm
excited too, man. I think we're close here. We're just about ready to dive in, and we are excited to get into the action here on Cursed Hollow. This is game 2, Georgia Tech. 8th Street West versus Rutgers Grease Trucks. Everything is on the line for Rutgers here. This could be their tournament life. Do they have what it takes to pull out a win here against Georgia Tech? We're going to find out briefly, and this is it. I am Jacka on the Stitches like we talked about, and look at that guy. He's wearing the crown. He is ready to flex his muscles and get to work. Tarantus on Greymane, Infernus RNG on Rhaegar, Sunar on the Li Ming, and we have the Murky, of course, who's hanging out in that bottom lane. He is going to be causing havoc there. Shanks ready to show us what Murky's all about. Make Tim proud, Shanks. We're going to be watching. It's going to be a fun one.
On the opposite side, you have Rutgers Grease Trucks. Here they are, Super Flip, Lililana, Honku Song, as well as Dilkster and Super Flip bringing in the hook, though, right away on Super Flip. He will be able to bound away. He does have that mobility available to him. Honku Song does follow up, unfortunately, with Lennar taking so much damage. It's hard for her to get in there, and now she'll be forced to back and heal on up.
And you saw Brightwing doing her phase shift in right there. That is such a powerful component of that hero. You can see her be all the way away on a whole other side of the battleground and then be present in order to heal up her team. So we'll see them trying to make the most out of that hero, soaking experience in the lane and then moving in to jump into team fights in what might feel like a little bit late in the game. But, you know, a good Brightwing player knows how to make the most out of that. Have their presence be felt in the lane, gaining experience while still being able to support their team in team fights.
Yeah, Trikslyr will do what Brightwing does best. Soak lanes, get the experience, and then jump into a team fight whenever he is needed. So we see the aggression here in the middle lane occurring for the majority of Rutgers. They put 3 people down here just trying to push that in and grab whatever infrastructure they can. Here is that Wisp that is available by Lunara. She's able to scout ahead and drop those in bushes, and it gives them a small amount of vision so they're able to watch out for rotations. Brightwing is a prime target to pick off in the top lane, and you're actually going to see Georgia Tech start heading up there, but because of that Wisp being there, Rutgers is actually aware of it, and Brightwing pulls back safely and waits. I love it. I love it. I love it.
You know what? Incredible Lunara players know how to get the most out of their Wisp. They know exactly where to place it, like you're saying, to protect those fragile heroes. And wow, nice awareness on behalf of Grease Trucks to know that that would be the case, putting that Wisp in the bush so they actually had that scouting.
Let's check out that bottom lane. I'm seeing some aggression here from Murky actually on top of Lunara. This is actually a very hard matchup for Murky as he has to fully engage. And the thing is Murky picked up block here, which is helpful against the auto attacks. But one of my favorite... Yeah, well, not the poison. The poison will still go off, but it does block off the auto attacks. The thing that I love on Murky is actually safety bubble at level 1. It gives you the movement speed to move in, and that's the only real way to deal with Lunara safely, as you're able to get in there and poke her down. If you get 1 or 2 slimes on her, she actually goes down to half health. So he's going to have a hard time in that lane. Good job on Rutgers moving Lunara down there, and he's trying his best to keep up with the pressure.
Yeah, that can be tough. You want to definitely make the most out of Murky, and it feels like sometimes if you aren't able... Wow, look at Leoric. He is able to Wraith Walk away, keep his life, but he did lose a huge amount of health in the process. Right now, they are all falling behind their lines just to keep their lives. They don't have to play super aggressive here, so they don't want to fall into the trap of having to go blow for blow with Georgia Tech.
This is where things get interesting. The first tribute is now spawning for the game, and I want to see how both teams are going to handle this here. Georgia Tech is obviously going to try and put as much pressure on it, but hook people in when they get the ability to, because they want to try and poke somebody off. And nobody from Rutgers actually comes in to disrupt that. That is a bit of a missed opportunity. Even a Brightwing coming down and dropping a Q to slow it down is always great, because that gives you the opportunity to soak into the lanes. They just gave it up for free.
Yeah, it'd be one thing if you saw all heroes intentionally stay in lane and soak experience and just decide, you know what, this is our strategy. But that wasn't what we saw. We actually saw all heroes leave lanes as if they were going to go tend to it, but then they never did. So interesting that that's how that played out right there. Hyam Rick trying to basically make the most out of this lane, but certainly isn't interested in losing his life right now. So first tribute goes in the favor of 8th Street West. Not the biggest deal in the world, but of course the first team to reach 3 tributes will get a curse on their opponents, causing their minions to drop to 1 health and their towers to stop firing.
And with the constant pressure here from Sunar here, they're able to just move in and grab this turret. This is the main goal here. Get this turret. And you see them just take a small inkling of a level lead here towards level 7. Next tribute is now spawning. 3 members do rotate up here in the top left corner, though, and goes for Torontus. Wow. There is the first takedown of the game, and it goes to Rutgers. Trikslyr will probably stay up here and soak as much as he can, get his team 7. Who is grabbing this tribute? It looks like Rick is going to wait for his teammates to show up. Nice play.
Yeah, I was going to say that on Murky.
That egg is advantageous.
Dude, that is. And
oh
it's
my
very
gosh.
aggressive.
That's a brave Murky, but he's going in, bringing the Qs, and you can see Superflip taking damage.
Oh,
the hook! Sick. Wait, what? What? Superflip's going away. Furnace will follow up and show up there. He's going to bound away. Sunar, though, does show up, and Georgia Tech has bought enough time to get all the members back here. Haku is now in trouble, and Liliana is trying to help.
Yeah, trying to keep his life, but falls out. But man, what an interesting play there. An aggressive egg, like you said, by Murky. But it
bold.
That was bold.
My heart stopped beating for like 2 seconds.
It wasn't even like in a bush.
Yeah. And for you at home that's a little confused, that egg is very, very important for Murky. Remember, that's where he does spawn if he is taken out. So him losing that egg could potentially give him a full kill, which could be very scary for a Murky player.
I do want to point out the synergy that's going on here with 8th Street West between Rhaegar and Stitches. They're doing a really good job of getting hooks while Rhaegar throws down his Earthbind Totem, which basically causes heroes to slow. So it's not exactly the equivalent of, say, like a Stitches Tyrande combo where she can get a full-on stun, but they are making the most of their synergies, and I love that. There you see it again right there. Rhaegar, Stitches working together to try to secure kills off of the hook. So really cool collaborative play coming out of them.
Well, both teams trying to get to level 10 here, and that's where a lot of these builds are going to come together for, especially the Rutgers here. Once they get 10, they're going to be able to get that Thornwood Vines, be able to start poking down. You see the follow-through procs here available for Thrall as well, and then once Leoric most likely gets Entomb here, by the way, because there are double warriors, they'll be able to lock down a target and really just kind of melt them down, especially Thrall can get in there and use a hammer. So you see Rutgers just trying to move to level 10 here, but there is a third tribute here, which will be a curse.
Yeah, absolutely. This is an important tribute for Rutgers to figure out how to address. Otherwise, they will experience a curse. But it's unfortunate that they did lose Muradin so early. They wasn't even in a fight around the tribute. But Dilkster getting the drop. Greymane, though, with a great poke. Dilkster unable to get that channel. They are going to have to address this team, or else they are not going to be able to secure that
Muradin's
tribute.
up in 6 seconds, but Shane coming around, really trying to apply those slime slows on top of Lenara. It looks like Stitches is able to finally work his way in there and grab the tribute. And Kevin, what does the curse do?
Yeah, we talked about it. Minions to 1 health, towers don't fire. So this is a really great opportunity for Georgia Tech to basically take ownership over the battleground. Right now, though, they're turning their attention to their boss. We see this strategy sometimes. Most teams like to tend to push, take advantage of the fact that the towers aren't firing, not taking damage, but they are going for their boss right now.
That's because Georgia Tech has the Murky factor. Murky was able to push in the bottom lane and put a lot of pressure on with that slime. He effectively one-shots entire waves. And so he was just down there causing chaos, right? 2 members came down to deal with Murky because they assumed, oh, they're just going to follow Murky and they're going to push in the bottom lane. That bought just enough time for Georgia Tech to get this boss. They gave up a bit of an experience lead to do that, but it's totally worth it. The boss now pushing in the bottom lane will give them the power to go ahead and start pushing in the middle lane here. They can start grabbing more infrastructure as well.
They still have 30 seconds on this curse too, or 20 seconds now, so they are going to still get basically priority in both lanes. The boss is going to work in the bottom while they work in the middle right now, so double experience essentially. Both teams though on level 10, so they are at an equal power advantage right now, but they are just trying to clean up this boss in the bottom lane while the rest of Georgia Tech pushes hard in the middle lane. And you know what? Nice move by Rutgers, dodging hooks and basically holding onto their lives while trying to stem the bleeding, essentially.
They do need to be a little careful here. The curse distance in, and Rick can walk up here and actually entomb Stitches.
Nice!
They get Li Ming. She's going to get ancestral healed, so nice. There goes the polymorph, though. The Sun Ring does go off. They're putting everything into Sunar, and Sunar will actually survive. The only hero to go down is Murky, but they are giving chase.
Yeah, that the actual placement on that Sun Ring was a little bit unfortunate because it actually pushed Li
It was
Ming.
a panic Sun Ring because we saw so much being put into Li Ming, but then the Ancestral from Rhaegar was so important, so Thrall was like, crud, we have to kill this guy now. So he dropped down a Sundering, and it just wasn't enough. Gotta have more control there.
And look at that. Stitch is picking up Gorge. That's going to be a fun one to watch. Oftentimes we'll see him pick up his Bile rather than Gorge, but Greymane losing his life here for 8th Street West. That's a nice pickup for the Grease Trucks. Even fight here, though, unstoppable. You know, Leoric is not necessarily the best target for hooks because he can get away with Wraith Walk, though. And obviously, as a warrior too, not always the most critical hero to pull out of a fight, especially when his heroic is often on cooldown. But he is back up, and yeah, we're basically seeing teams on a pretty even footing right now. Both teams right around level 12 as they're getting closer to that level 13 power spike, trying to soak lanes, take ownership over the map, and wait for those next tributes to spawn.
All right, Rutgers just a little bit ahead here in experience, moving towards level 13. That becomes a very important time for Lenara. Will she grab the extra damage available to her at Talons, or will she grab the greater spell shield? I would probably pick up the spell shield here. Lenara is very, very powerful, of course, and if she gets chunked with the entire combo, Lenara has a very low health pool because of her mobility and her damage that she has as a trade-off. So you don't want to get caught by a Li Ming combo.
Yeah, and of course we did see Lenara pick up Nature's Calling. That ability really, really powerful against structures, so we're going to be seeing her putting up as much damage as possible against enemy fortifications and buildings. Just so much value out of that ability to use the poison to wreck infrastructure. But here we see Rutgers trying to rotate down to the bottom lane, addressing strategy here right now. Maybe they're prepping for Merc camp captures on their side.
Well, control on the bottom side is here for the Rutgers. They're getting Giants, Mercenaries to right to try and put on pressure. I'm looking at Georgia Tech here. I'm just kind of looking at the builds here. Murky just going for a pure like slime build with walk. So he just wants to get in there, slime whoever targets they can, and then his team can decide where to go from there.
Yep, absolutely. Right now, Dilkster laning against Greymane. That's a pretty tough battle for Brightwing, but she can, you know, she doesn't have to play aggressive. She can just basically sit back, hide under towers. As long as she's soaking experience, she's doing her job and getting there to support her team whenever fights come to play. Here we see the spawning of the next tribute in the top right now. Rutgers trying to position around it. Dilkster making the blink in and ready to support his team. I am Jacka face checking Himrick into the bush. He does have Drain Hope on him right now. Polymorph, oh no! There goes Murky, but that's not the worst kill in the world. Oh, so many heroics being dropped. Right now, we saw Gorge taken and Infernus dropping so far. Nice Ancestral on Stitches. We see a Wow, 2 heroes though falling for Grease Trucks. Right now, Rhaegar, it's a 3-on-2, actually 2-on-3 right now, 2-on-4, excuse me, in favor of 8th Street West, and Liliana just having to basically get out with her life.
Might go down here. There it is, the laser. Get her! What? There we go, got it. So yeah, 4 members being killed off there, and that fight was not a very good engage from Rutgers. It looked all right because we saw the entomb when he caught 3 people there, but Li Ming was positioned in a place where her disintegrate had 4 members the entire time. Murky then spawned and helped clean up the entire thing. They started winning that team fight, but once Murky showed up and started putting pressure on the opponents, you just saw Li Ming and her capability of really just snowballing a fight whenever she gets that reset really come into play. You got to be careful against those engagements. I know sometimes when you catch a target, you just go full on in, but you never want to charge into a choke. Dilt's in trouble as well. There's an auto grab, and members are now falling left and right here for Rutgers.
Yeah, that's unfortunate positioning there by Brightwing. Not what you want to have happen. Stitch is a constant threat. When you're on this battleground playing against the Stitches, you have to just constantly be aware of that cooldown. The cooldown of his hook, I think it's like 8 seconds, is that correct? Something like that. But, you know, basically, you want to constantly be aware that Stitches can grab you at any moment. And, of course, when he's backed up by other teammates like that, you know, can get a pick off very, very easy.
You gotta zigzag, man. Whenever you're playing on this map and you're playing against Stitches, always keep zigzagging. Never walk in a straight line. Well, Georgia Tech now a level ahead. They don't have a talent advantage, though, so Rutgers can still engage us and relatively be on even footing. They are doing the wonderful bush strat where everyone sits in a bush and tries to catch up, comes down.
Taking so much damage early. Taken out, but again, that is the Murky. Sorry.
The Murky gets down the bottom left.
Yeah, Murky in the bottom left.
He just spawns. Here he goes, trucking around, moving down, trying to help out. Rick taking poke damage. Superflip is doing a really good job of keeping Stitches out of here. We do have members now getting caught. There's the entomb. The Sundering actually does knock him out of that entomb, though. Murky comes in from behind. The auto grab hits the pufferfish hits 3 people. 1 member going down. Hi, I'm Rick getting very low on HP. He will get picked off. Li Ming is now getting a reset. Liliana in trouble. Will she get picked off? She's trying to fight. 2 members now down. 3 members now down. Could we lose a 4th, Kevin?
Yeah, I think so. This is looking bad. It doesn't even matter if they lose the 4th at this point. The victory has been felt. Georgia Tech also getting the power surge at level 16. It's looking rough right now for Rutgers. Mostly from a morale standpoint, they have yet to actually get a single tribute. I'm sure they must feel like they're being dominated, even though the numbers don't speak so horribly. The actual gameplay itself, how it feels to play right now, and look at that, Murky just doesn't care, dude. just doesn't care.
Guys, wait, I'll be right back. The boss is now being grabbed from Georgia Tech. They knew that they won that fight handedly, so they moved up and they grabbed the objective over at the very top. And Rick's trying to get over here, but it's just a little too late. Toronto's in trouble. Lenargan come around, and look at Georgia Tech. I love the discipline. You know what? My teammate's dead.
Yeah.
Later, players, and they rolled out and they went behind the forts, grabbed their turrets, and got away.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's look at this real quick. Look at this fight. Ricky comes in. He got the pufferfish on 3 people. Now, members are just low here. Rick getting low. That's a reset for Center here. You see Toronto's down here in the bottom right, taking out Lily, taking out another member, and now Dilt's in trouble as well. 3 members just got taken out so fast. It seemed like they didn't even have a chance.
Yeah, that's the big problem with Li Ming, man. She's just such a snowball in a team fight like that. The second you get a kill, get a second kill, just so much damage. You're going to continue to pile on board. And, of course, 8th Street West doing what they can to grab their boss right now, continue to take advantage of their lead, as they do have a significant level advantage over Rutgers as they move towards level 20. They're going to grab this boss. He's going to continue to put pressure on this bottom lane as they move towards the next tribute spawn. And again, right now, Rutgers, not a single tribute haven't been captured in this game, and Georgia Tech stands on the cusp of yet another curse.
For Rutgers, if you're kind of wondering what they need to do to get back here, they need to really stop putting so much focus into Murky. They see him coming for the engagement. They try to get rid of him. They actually focus him and take down his health bar. What you need to kill is the pufferfish that he's throwing down, or you should have gotten cleansed at level 7. However, Brightwing went for a Z build, which helps them out for engages because they get a lot of shields. It helps out Leoric, so it can be great there. You just got to be really, really careful with actually dealing with that autograph. Shanks just runs in, goes straight for it. And you see this guy is just locked down. Pufferfish damage will hit 2 members, it looks like. We do have a Gorge as well. There goes Greymane. Rick is being taken down. We do have aggression from Liliana, and she's actually getting a lot of damage in.
Yeah, so much damage there. Coming in, we got the reset there, and Hangsu too deep. He does dwarf toss away, which is fine, but they are in a bad situation. They need to recover. Hangsu just looking so slow. There goes the Brightwing with the heal, but it couldn't even get it off.
Dude, I'm just loving the Shanks play from Murky, just charging in and setting up his team to do the damage. Sunner says, where's Murky? There he is. I'm targeting that area.
It's so funny, man. You're exactly right. He is doing the initiating, and it's almost as if it's a bit like a misdirection magic trick on the Grease Trucks. They focus him because it's like, first guy in the team fight, focus the Murky, but it hasn't been working for them. And in fact, that we see the first keep fall. And man, this can't be game, is it, Tim? I think
it could.
I mean, I guess it is. Yeah, they got the boss
here. Yeah, they got the entire boss. They have a curse force going in. Now, however, the core does fight back. There's an optic grab. If they kill this guy, this is definitely an in. Lenara is taken out, and now they just focus the core 60%, 50%, 40%. Georgia Tech, I was wrong. I thought they would not come out and be prepared, but they have made a splash here. Murky pun intended, and they will be winning 2-0.
Wow, congratulations to the Grease Trucks as they take that win over, congratulations to Georgia Tech as they take the win over the Grease Trucks.
Yeah.
Solid play by them with that Murky strat, the combo between Murky, Stitches, as well as the Rhaegar backup on the hooks. Like I said, really solid coordinated play. We knew that they had that strat in their pocket, as we heard from them in their interview earlier in this week, and they did a really great job executing it. And it was almost felt like a perfect strategy against Rutgers because they were falling prey to those Murky misdirections.
Yeah, they were a little bit off when it comes to actually going into that fight. You cannot put that much damage into Murky. They were doing so much just trying to get rid of him so they could actually deal with the other members. But Murky just kept spawning because his eggs were so aggressive. This fight in particular right here that you see in front of you was the major turning point for me. It really showed me that they don't, Rutgers didn't understand how to fight around this. They had this entire synergy where we follow Rick in whenever he does something and we attack whoever he entombs. However, that was the worst play you could do there because Disintegrate hit 4 people and you saw them clean it all up. So great play overall by the A Street West. You know, I hope to see the Grease Trucks back again. They show some potential, maybe a little bit more training, a little bit more focus on their teamwork, and they'll be good to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Congratulations to Georgia Tech as they take that great win and they move on to the round of 32, ever closer to that grand prize and the final event in Seattle, Washington. Such a cool thing to be a part of. And you know what? We're going to have an interview coming up here with the captain from Georgia Tech, H Street West. I am Jacka, so we're going to hang tight for that. But, again, kudos to them. And, I want to say to Rutgers Grease Trucks, those of you out there who are rooting for them, we absolutely have huge hearts for your team. Congratulations for making it thus far into Heroes of the Dorm, and kudos to your team. We love the confidence, the coordinated team play, and I hope it's been a great experience for you guys. And best of luck next year as we hope to see you guys again.
Yeah, the round of 64 is no joke. 400 teams competed, and you got there, so nice job, guys. But we do have some matches coming up pretty soon that we'll be going into. Remember, Jake and Gilly will be casting the next matches for you guys. If we want to go ahead and take a look at what will be coming. Here it is. We have Florida State versus Indiana, Ohio State, UCLA. Later on, Washington versus Temple. Kevin and I will be joining back for that game. And then to end it all will be, of course, Jake and Gilly doing Carolina University versus VCU. So looking forward to all those epic matches. So far, man, even though that was a 2-0, I feel like our matches have been fun to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? I think we have our interview here with I'm Jacka, captain of Georgia Tech, H Street West. I'm Jacka. Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Jack, congratulations, man, on the win. Round of 64. Your team got it. How are you feeling right now?
Feeling pretty good, man. Game 1 was pretty rough, and then we turned it around with Game 2.
Yeah, absolutely. Dominant play. Loved. You talked to us a little bit on our phone call earlier this week that you might see some murky play. What was the decision on your part to actually pull that out? Was there something that you saw in the way Rutgers was playing that basically made you confident pulling that strategy out in Game 2?
Well, we just felt like our team comp was pretty solid as it was, and Shanks was like, you know what? I'm gonna just pull out the murky. We're like, okay, that's fine.
Full confidence in him.
It really felt like it was working to your team's favor. It seemed like Rutgers was addressing murky before addressing any other hero on your team. So it was like you were guys getting full value out of that. It's like if you can get them to focus that hero before focusing anybody else, you're automatically winning. So kudos to you guys on pulling that strat out.
Well, Jack, congratulations to you guys. You're going to the round of 32. I just kind of want to know, you've made it through the round of 64. What are you guys doing for the rest of the day, and how do you prepare for tomorrow's match?
We might play a little more, couple practice matches afterwards. But other than that, we're just gonna celebrate and relax.
Simple and easy, man.
Yep.
Yeah, so we know that tomorrow you're going to be playing the winner of either Minnesota Banana Cabana or Nevada 5 Elements. Have you guys looked at their play at all? Is there anything? Is there any team you hope takes the win over the other as we move into that round?
We haven't been looking at the next teams yet. We just want to look up the teams that we're playing against currently.
That makes
We
sense.
haven't looked up too far.
Keep your focus on.
Chill.
But
Just play
hopefully
your
we
game.
do well.
Yeah, keep your focus on the job at hand. I love it. Well, again, many congrats to you and your team. We hope you go very far in this tournament. All the best to you. We hope you have a great night and get some rest. Get ready for tomorrow and bring your A game there. Kudos to you guys.
Cool. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Well, for you at home, you can keep up with the entire tournament by going to heroesofthedorm.com, find out all the information, keep an eye on your brackets, and of course, find fun stats. Check out that place when you can, man. I know it will be later.
Absolutely. And of course, the live event at Seattle, Washington, there's all the information there. We want to see you there in person. Tim and I are going to be there. So will Jaycie. It's going to be incredible, and some others. I don't want to give all the secrets away. but it's going to be awesome. By the way, Tim and I are going to take a quick break, but guess who's coming up next? SolidJake, Gillyweed. They're going to be casting these games for you guys, so stick around. It's going to be a ton of fun. We are not done. We got a long day ahead of us, so we'll see you very soon.